Kino. And then nobody responded to him, so he said LMAFO or something along those lines. And then after a while, Kino said, I mean, I am too, you know. So basically, J9O and Kino both love Kino, is what I got from that chat. It was pretty good.
Michael, what does the F in LMFAO stand for?
I don't know, Parker. Fun? Friends? Who do stuff together?
It's unfortunate. I was really hoping that you'd fall for it, and then I could end your career here live.
You really thought? No. What?
Oh, yes, it stands for.
You're not going to give me that easily, Parker. I am a tick. You're going to have to dig me out. So, Thermite and... Thatcher and Flores are the bans for the attack. Thatcher... I don't know why I can't say operator names today. Valkyrie and Melusi will be defense. Nothing too surprising here. We've seen Flores' bans actually start to soar as his relevance has been made apparent. His ability to clear out utility on any map is frankly staggering compared to many other operators.
Out of the positions that they're in, he can also do damage. I mean,
he's the
people getting their HP chunked away, so there's a lot of applications, and he gets 4 of them.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of utility. He's in the NAL so far through this stage. He is the second most banned operator on attack. And it's not really that surprising given his kit. It's a lot of utility. Yeah, one thing that is interesting isn't the fact that Mira wasn't banned, because she gets banned a lot, but not necessarily on Coastline. Sometimes on Coastline. In the past, it used to be necessary. Now, she doesn't really get played all that much, so. But she's being brought. Not banned.
I eat my words, by the way, about this Maverick play. So, OXG knows something that I don't. It was talked about that Twitch could also show up, and well, here she is.
Yeah.
One thing that doesn't get discussed on a map like Coastline is that one thing that aids both teams is caliber-based destruction.
Yeah.
Now there are significantly fewer bullets available for pretty much every single operator, which means that your ability to pre-fire and create lines of sights and shoot through floors and walls are hindered because you'll run out of bullets much faster than you would under regular circumstances and previously when they had more ammunition. So
yeah, no, definitely. And it's why you need a lot of tools to open things up, whether on attack or defense. Now, one thing I find really interesting here is that right off the cuff, Astralis are implementing a strategy that is mostly contingent on the changes to the map. You see to the left of Shuttle there, he's got good protection from the skylight. He doesn't have to worry about somebody shooting his mirror window, and they're going to extend it to 90 because of that. And that's sensible. It's a good position to hold. It gives you further control over Penthouse, VIP, and Projector, and that gives you a lot of horizontal protection for the site.
Going to be hunkering down here on this pink bar upstairs, right next to the bomb chassis. For those that aren't aware or don't have a visual aid, it's a hookah billiards defense at the moment, so that's where the holdout will be. A decent spread, as you talked about, and even if the map has been changed and tinkered with, from what we've seen thus far of Coastline, is a lot of these sites do tend to function the same. They're a little bit different here and there, but for the most part, it's at least semi-similar. And there goes the Mira window for J9O, just as he's by the doorway leading into hookah, so he can't play as cavalierly off of Cool Vibe stairs as he wants to. That's a tough spot for him to be in, and he is far more susceptible to getting flushed out.
Nobody's been flushed out yet, though, Parker, as we're coming down to the last minute and not a single casualty. This is unusual for Coastline. Retro playing with fire and getting burnt just a tad to lose some HP. Evil Eye inside of hookah is spotted out. No action, though, ensuing, and there's only 2 anchors. Keep that in mind. It's J9O and Retro. The rest of the Astralis defenders are on the roam.
Shuttle's down below, and he's got access to a nitro cell. He'll be able to get underneath Aquarium and get some access towards that default plant spot. If nobody flushes him out, then they'll be in a tough spot. The grenade goes in with 30 seconds left, but bad timing for Retro to go on the cam as Kino pushes on up. He nets the very first kill for OXG, but he also loses Yaga in the process. Evades the nitro cell from below, but there's a follow-up from Shuttle doing significant damage. Laxing trades it off. He's dusted by J9O. As both these teams just continue to trade back and forth. Leads us into a 2v2 with 15 seconds left. Diffuser is not in anybody's hands, only to be retrieved. And if they walk in from this hookah balcony, J90 is poised and ready there with the shotgun, but OXG are wasting time. Vertical picks up the diffuser. J90 on the ground, shuts down Foxay. Will Vertical be able to get this off? No, he won't. Iconic stops him in his tracks. And it's a nice hold from Astralis on the first round.
Wow, interesting strategy there from Astralis. We saw a lot of different things going on. Chance to re-secure his site. It wasn't Shuttle, by the way. It was Retro. I'm fixing people up already. And it was just well thought out. When you have pacing like that on a team like Astralis, their ability to, manage their own aggression, that really shows a lot of growth. And it's the only reason why that force retake strategy just worked for Astralis.
Well, now they'll go downstairs to kitchen, so the site rotation for Coastline hasn't really changed up all that much. Expect some off-site presence down on that double bar portion of the map. That is also known as its own bomb site, but will not be employed as such here.
Bar.
Bar, as we call it, which is, I think, what we named it for Clubhouse as well, Michael.
Yep, bar.
But bar. But
we don't really see it that much. I mean, it's a nice site when you do actually get to it, because you always have to do some kind of interesting strategy to hold on to it. Usually, it's a force retake strat like the one we just saw. By the way, if I ever say force retake, basically what that means is it's a strat with the intention from the defenders of being set up for a retake, and that is contingent upon the force that you can wield. Usually, 3 roamers on that retake. Possibly more if one of the anchors fell off when the site was initially taken. But the idea is that you have the force to retake, and it's deliberate. And that's how you usually defend the bar site.
Well, Alibi's pick rate continues to remain high. If you were locked inside of a cryo chamber and you are just emerging now, you might wonder why we are suddenly seeing Alibi at the top level, and you might see more of her if a team decides to go to Clubhouse, as that tends to be one of the bomb sites where she has a very high pick rate. We've also seen her get played on Cafe. The biggest reason for this is simply because they gave her a different site. That is it. After they did that, her pick rate climbed quite high, and with it, she sees play. And she's good for distracting. She's got a great weapon. She can pin you down when you shoot at one of her decoys or clones, if you want to call it that, and is just able to stall. While also being a good roamer. I've heard people say that she's very similar to the old Ella, but not quite the same nightmare for people.
Well, nightmare for Vertical is he's taken down from J90 inside a hookah. Good use of the alibi there. And that's the first pick for Astralis. They're looking really solid on this defense here, Parker. I think a big part of it, for me, that's the most obvious at least, is the patience that Astralis is displaying. They're setting themselves up for success, and they're not getting in their own way. Oxygen have no counters as of yet for these roams, and because they can't touch the roam, when it comes to actually getting to the site, it causes even more problems.
This is the huge change that people have talked about to this map, and that's they've replaced the window inside of VIP with this double wall, which is why we might start to see Maverick's pick rate continue to go high, and we could even see a Thermite or an Ace used more, and oh no, Kino, you wander right in, and J90's in the same position as before, playing above inside a hookah. He'll just hold some control over those cool vibe stairs. Yaga's in the site, though, and he guns down Retro, and he'll look for more, playing by the A-bomb chassis.
Oh,
now
no.
Watching for the comeback from over towards the bathroom, and his attention looks elsewhere. He knows he's got a target above. Those are the pings that are going in. Running out of time as only 10 seconds remain, and Astralis' J90 will find kill number 3. Yaga goes down. No ace available as DP Fire picks up another kill, though it's been J90 all the way down. And they're just looking for Foxay. J90 will actually get it, and that is a bug. It was unless, here's one thing to consider.
Oh.
There was a change that was made very recently.
So there's no indicator that it was, in fact, a kill on a downed person that was downed by somebody else. And since there's no indication, you kind of just have to guess at it, unless you actually saw it happen. So I think it's probably what Parker's talking about. But yeah, hey, we got the bar site. That's pretty cool. Also, that last defense, let me just talk about it for a little bit before we move on. We saw a horizontal roam clear by a bar, blue bar and sunrise bar, but no vertical roam clear, no clear upstairs. And that, as a result, allowed Astralis to freely roam. That's going to cause a lot of problems for you, especially when J9O is, again, he's really displaying a lot of patience today. And he is lethal in the positions he's been given. You've got to solve that problem. You've got to address it directly. You cannot let it linger, and because they did, an ace, technically, for J9O.
So excellent work so far from Astralis. J9O showing up huge, and I know that he's not the one that we talked about on that community poll question. In fact, if you pull up the statistics of Astralis, J9O sits roughly smack in the middle of the NA League right now, and if anybody is familiarized with this Astralis squad back when they were Disrupt, the standout performers for the team early on were Iconic and J9O. You can have some brilliant games from everybody else on the team, but traditionally it was Iconic and J9O topping the score sheet. DP Fire has added some depth to that team as well, but Iconic so far through this stage has really been remarkable. Now, as we talk about this, 1 minute exhausted here in round number 3, Astralis still on the defense, halfway through their stead, and a couple shots fire through the floor. It tagged up Yaga, poor Yaga, but he's able to outlast it for now. He's not too far off of the bomb site, which is that double bar, or bar as you talked about it. So as long as Astralis can hold this top floor, they'll be in pretty good position.
We're seeing the same thing we saw last round here, Parker. Oxygen, once again, trying to get close action to the site. There's very light anchor play, so potentially Oxygen could hit site directly and cause a lot of problems for Astralis, which is what Oxygen's plan for the last 2 rounds. Oh, here's the big difference maker. This we haven't seen so far. One of the roamers is dead. The hands of Kino, and he's looking for more as he starts pushing up on Sunrise Bar. Yaga will get another for his team, and oh, Kino doing a lot of damage, but he's shut down by J9O, who is just not losing his fights today. Yaga, though, getting his second, and it's the SAS defenders in a 2 versus 4.
They're hunkered down right now inside of the bomb site. They've still got 2 toxic canisters remaining, so there's time for the smoke to be able to do some damage, and also hold off on the push that's going to come in. There's a weird interaction there with Kino not seeing the leg, but J9O wants to go swinging because he realizes if we just sit and wait inside of this site, they're going to come to us and we are going to die. So armed with the SMG-11, he does what so many people have tried to do, and that's outduel OXG. It doesn't work out. Retro's next one in line. It certainly looks like, Michael, that OXG is going to walk away with this round, only losing Kino in the process. But there's a needle to thread, and that's exactly what Retro's going to do. He still hears some bullets goes out, but he can't fight back against Laxing, even if he tries to hold off the 3 other members of Oxygen. OXG picks up their very first round here on Coastline.
Nice play there for influence the clear from Oxygen. Get a pick or 2 early on and put the defenders in the advantage. That's what Astralis did for the first 2 rounds, and it caused many problems. Now in the third, finally, even though the same formula seems to be playing out, Oxygen correct course, they get one of the roamers, and they immediately launch an attack onto the site, giving no time whatsoever for Astralis to correct. And here we are. Well done to Oxygen. Good adaptability, but to be fair, Astralis did gift that first kill to Oxygen in the last round. I mean, just dropping into main lobby like that. It's really dangerous.
All told, the roam clear was much stronger for Oxygen there, and the question is, and I think will need to be answered, is that just because of the bomb site? Double bars, like I said, as long as you can hold that top floor on double bars, you are in good shape. We have seen teams that have not been able to manage the clock successfully barrel into the double bars component of the map without having control above. And what happens? Well, they're just simply gunned down, and that's it, because there are avenues that the attackers do not look at above you. You just simply run at a time. Same thing happens on a map like Cafe. I think we saw it, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, when you don't clear out that top floor. Okay, you try to attack the bottom floor site without the top floor being in your pocket, and you are in for a bad time. So maybe it's just the way the bomb site plays out. We're still trying to see if Coastline's meta has really shifted at all because of some of the slight changes.
It has slightly. We've seen some different strategies. I think these roamers are a little bit more confident as we're on a penthouse defense. J9O will get the first pick by Vase. So very far removed from the site. And there's also DP Fire in Pink Bar trying to hold it down. He's being addressed by Yaga and I think somebody else by VIP possibly, as he takes a little bit of damage there.
He's just hanging out. If he pops up, he can look the right way, but he and Kino will be in a dance to death. Nobody seems to know what they're doing, but J9O says, hey, I haven't done much this round, so let me hop on in. I'll pick up my second kill and keep it going. Breaking double digits in just 3 rounds, but he looks all but certainly dead. Vertical pushes out Yaga's nearby. This is a pinch in the process for J90. He's killed so far 90 seconds of this round, and Yaga get collapsed upon, and J90 won't be able to get out of there alive. Vertical with the perfect trade, but it still favors Astralis.
Yeah, that's the problem, Parker. Trading in that situation was not what OXG wanted. They needed to shut down J90, get him out of the equation after he had already gotten 2 kills. It's really just, yeah, shutting him down. But Astralis, after that engagement, they maintained the man advantage, even though DP Fire didn't get his first kill for the match. He didn't need to. J90 was there to pick up the slack.
Vertical will still hold that similar position by Vase. This Penthouse Theater site was almost undefendable prior to the changes to Coastline, the big one being that wall inside of VIP, and we'll see how pivotal it is. Denying the attackers that easy laneway on in. Down goes Retro on a beautifully tossed nade by Vertical. Iconic has a throwable of his own. It goes out, and it lands, but not with the target that he wants in mind. This slaps us into a 2v2, but another grenade finds its target. Foxay taking out Iconic. These are heat-seeking nades so far from OXG. Shuttle doing his best disappearing act as he manages to evade Foxay, firing through the headboard. Diffuser's going down. He stops it in its tracks. He'll go for a retreat with 15 seconds remaining. No Nitro Cell for him. Foxay will be tagged on in with 10 seconds to go. If he doesn't get this diffuser down soon, he's going to be extremely vulnerable, and he knows that. He's now on the point of no return, where if he pops out, he's only going to have 1 second to go, and Shuttle will fire through the floor, but pros don't fake, and Foxay won't. The plant is successful, and Shuttle stays downstairs. He'll have to make his way back up top, but because he's so far away, Foxay will have tons of time to reposition. And if a drone is available, there'll be intel for Foxay to boot, and it sure seems like there is. So with no information, no clue, and hopefully more hope than that, Shuttle will look to retake. He sees the diffuser, but he doesn't know where Foxay's position is. He'll fake it. Drone goes down. Foxay knows this, but he doesn't know that Shuttle's on it. So in he charges, but he's making a lot of noise in the process. Shuttle walks in, and unfortunately missing out on those shots, losing the fight to Foxay. OXG take 2 rounds in a row, and they have tied the game up.
That was a really interesting, because those nades, as you said, heat-seeking nades, Parker. Well, they brought it to a 2v3 to a 2v1, and Shuttle just wasn't able to make it happen. I really want to also point out, I don't know what Shuttle was thinking with this play there. He got the kill on the planter, which is great, but then he dropped immediately. Now, dropping immediately is not necessarily the wrong call. If you think you're going to be peeked by cover, like the other player, if you think that they're going to peek you from Hall of Fame, then okay, drop. But instead of dropping and immediately pushing to hold the diffuser from below, or dropping and then immediately rotating back to White Stairs, Shuttle dropped and then lingered in the main lobby for, I don't know, like 15 seconds or something like that, which ultimately gave Foxay the freedom to pick up the diffuser and plant it in a safe position. There were ways to prevent that, and none of those were employed. It's curious.
The thing with Shuttle was that playing below is something that you do when you have information and you have that intel.
And C4.
And he didn't have any C4, and it certainly didn't seem like he had any intel either. There were no pings coming in, there were no yellow pings, there were no red pings, there were no calls being made, and he was completely off target when he was trying to figure out the location for Foxay's plant to go down. And I mean, once that timer hits 7 seconds, is it not the smarter idea to then immediately try to ascend the stairs? The thing was that Shuttle spent the final 18 seconds of that round down below, and then still took some time to get back up to the top floor. About the 5-10 seconds that allowed Foxay to get out of there and throw the drone down. It is a puzzling decision, and one that I'm sure at some point we will get an answer for, but it certainly doesn't seem like it was the most optimal choice on how to contend in the post-plant.
Well, that's that, and because of it, that Oxygen, and because of Foxay as well, managed to get their second round tied up here. We'll go to the conventional site, the Billiards Hookah defense, and there's, once again, a roam from Astralis. Only 2 real anchors, 3 players off site. They're trying to keep themselves extended. They're trying to keep themselves in a flexible position, likely setting up for retakes. Nades from below, Vertical doing his level best to be his namesake and take out Retro from below.
And that's 3 grenades thus far in a row that have all found their target. 2 were fatal. In this case, Retro manages to live with half his HP. First EE1D is going to go out as well. Retro hunkered down in the same spot behind the bar. He loses access to the drone, but then manages to shoot it either way. It's a daunting spot for him to be in. Still searching for his very first kill in the matchup here, Michael, and he is staring at the window over by Billiards. Smokes will go in and a grenade as well. It's going to stop Retro from being able to see a certain area, and there's one on the window that might be able to stop him. He swings on out effectively, though. Gets Kino as the diffuser was almost planted. Vertical there, able to refrag, but not before it was too late. It was a risky gamble by OXG, and now they have the unfortunate task of snatching that diffuser from the middle of the bomb site. All the while, it will give the final 40 seconds of the round to Astralis for them to get back in. Yaga watching over towards Luggage now, still contending with this 1 point. Diffuser has not been picked back up yet. Astralis have control over by Cool Vibe Stairs, watching to see if anyone's going to come over towards Hookah. Diffuser gets grabbed by Fox A. Yaga dies in the process, and Fox A peels off. A Nitro Cell goes down on the window. Vertical doing his best. That's 2 kills for him. Another attempt for Fox A. Is he going to be successful? No, he falls off. Watching and waiting to see if someone's going to go from over towards Luggage. Shuttle down below again. He's got impacts, trying to dislodge a plant from going down. He's got some marks this time. So the intel is there, but they are too little, too late. Down goes Laxing, and Fox A manages to peel off. Vertical not been shaken off of this window. Out jumps the Wamai, taken down as OXG's guns come alive. DP fire, last one up for Astralis. For OXG, it's Vertical. Still in that window, still reigning supreme. 3 kills to his name so far through this round. He doesn't know where he's going to come from. Just a small jiggle peek, testing your reflexes that Jaeger's going to need to hit their shots. This would be an embarrassing one, but Vertical saves himself the humiliation. And that 3rd round in a row for OXG now gives them the lead here on Coastline.
That was very dangerous, very scary for both teams. But the shots just landing there for Vertical. Huge round from him as he really holds everything together from big window. So many weird plant attempts there from OXG. So many risks taken. And the direct sight hit mentality that OXG brought out in that round works perfectly. And why? It's because they've figured out the optimal place to nullify the roamer's presence. Aquarium. If you want to hit the site and you don't want to be bothered with clearing out the roamers, go through Aquarium. All you need to do is make sure you're not going to get C4'd from Blue Bar and Office. It's a really easy clear. Now, to be fair, Astralis didn't try to do that, but Oxygen did clear out below before they went for the site hit. Remember those nades coming from underneath, Vertical with the grenades below? That's, you know, they had to drone that first, they had to clear it out, and once they knew it was free, they also knew they could hit the site. So well done to Oxygen, a thorough execution, and Astralis really not bringing out the same counters that we saw from them in the first 2 rounds.
Well, you live and die off of the roam. The one thing that really masked Astralis' setup is in the middle of that HUD on the left of your screen. J90 sitting at 12-3. He had 10 kills before that 4th round had ended. We are now in the 6th round. He's only picked up 2 since then. The problem is that the rest of Astralis, Retro, Shuttle, DP Fire, and Iconic, they have struggled to find the score sheet over many of those rounds. And if you're relying solely on one player, that's okay. Plenty of teams do that. But you need to have some consistency. And the problem is that if J90 goes cold and the rest of the team haven't found their groove just yet, and you are relying solely on one roamer to waste time, utility, and pick up kills, then the rest of your defense will crumble if J90 is not able to be successful. Over those last 2 rounds, he was far less of a difference maker and nowhere near as pivotal for Astralis, and with it, it allowed Oxygen to capitalize, isolate those players on defense, and then just ultimately collapse on the site.
We'll see if J90 can find his past success, but I think we're pretty used to this, Parker. Seeing players pick up a lot of kills in a short period of time, and then not many thereafter. It's somewhat normal in Siege. I don't know what it is, it just kind of happens that way. Could be the other team adapting, could be you realize, wow, I've got a lot of kills, and then you stop, you start overthinking it, and then suddenly you're not getting as many. But that's psychoanalyzing, it's stupid, and right now, it is going to be DP Fire who is the one getting the kills. To lead us off, down goes Kino, but he's traded out quickly. A back and forth results in OXG picking up 3 in a row. Make that 4! It's just Iconic now, and he'll drop into main lobby, getting himself 1. But there it is, Vertical with another, and Oxygen lock out the round. Wow.
Lock out the round, and also lockout it did get equaled out by OXG relatively quickly. Additionally, Oxygen's only plant in that 4 stretch was on Penthouse Theater, which was where we said there was a bit of a puzzling set of decisions from Shuttle on how he played that and got back to the site. So despite OXG winning those 4 rounds, they really statistically weren't entirely that dominant. They were just very consistent with what they did, and they were very well coordinated. And the biggest criticism that OXG has had over the last couple months has been that there are times where it does not look like they work as a team and they just thrive off of individual efforts. Well, those 4 rounds, they seem to be moving as a unit, and it really worked out, and it overwhelmed Astralis.
Now the question is, Parker, now that we're switching on to the second half, as it always is with Coastline, even the new iteration, will we see the same flow in the second half for the inverse teams? Here it would be Astralis getting 4 rounds, pardon me. Probably going to need more than 4 kills to get 4 rounds. And Oxygen picking up 2, we go to OT, and things get interesting in those last 3 rounds. That's pretty common, but for me, I'm already starting to feel the vibe that Oxygen has figured out Astralis a little bit. And it might take them some time to do the same now in the second half, but we'll see. So Mute Jammers, once again, they do not go as high as they used to, and you can open up above the radius of a Mute Jammer, and that's exactly what Astralis have done on the VIP wall. It'll give them the ability to poke some holes into VIP rotations.
Excited to see Penthouse Theater come back with a Fury. And here it is. But Yaga now, even though he's not close to the site, he's over by Hookah, and he needs to hold down against the hordes as there are just an abundance of explosives being tossed on in. He loses the Mute Jammers, he loses the magnets. He's just going to continue to move backwards and manages miraculously to get away with his life intact. I don't know if Vertical's position has been given away, but he is also close to that action. And if they don't drone this out inside of Pink, any single member of Astralis who tries to push through Hookah could be easily fed to Vertical in his current spot. He finds the clones that get some intel, trying to soften up the Zofia DP Fire. Both he and Retro have taken a lot of damage, but DP Fire wins that one out. A small misplay by Vertical to be as aggressive without that information. Still down below, guarding the doorway is Fox A with the shotgun intact, but I think he realizes the jig is up. You wasted almost 2 minutes of this round. You need to get back to the bomb site, and that's exactly what they're going to do, as Astralis are basically at the door about to knock on the site.
It was expensive 2 minutes as they lost Vertical in the process, and Yaga's sure to follow as he's trapped in VIP. The Hall of Fame cutoff will not let him escape. Here comes a nade. Not as good for Astralis as it was for Oxygen. Cut on the clone is successful, and it's successful on J9O as well. With that, Astralis starting to bleed a little bit, and they're going to bleed even harder. Pistol out. Can he get a third? No. Shuttle finally shuts him down, and it's an even man count as we hit the last 37.
The absolute utter disrespect with pulling out that weapon and just waiting and hoping. But the Keratos is a hell of a hand cannon, but not exactly what you want in that particular instance. Smoke will go off now as the final 20 seconds set us up for an execute here. Both teams sitting at 3 bodies still upright in the server. DP Fire not too close to the site, as his 2 teammates in Shuttle and Iconic hand in hand will walk on in. Nitro Cell's at the ready, and it takes down Iconic. They see the Zofia, but Laxing looks like he's having some serious troubles, and he is. DP Fire continues his rampage, but he gets outdone by Fox A, and it has their foot on the floor right now, as the pedal is really to the metal. 5 rounds in a row, prompting Astralis to take this time out. And hopefully, in the sake of a relatively balanced, a fair and balanced matchup, Michael, we see Astralis be able to fight back, because at the moment, it doesn't look like they're really doing anything that is all that successful against this OXG squad.
No, Parker, I think Oxygen have got this on lock. It took them a while to figure out Astralis, but we actually, I do want to bring this up. It's an important Siege phenomenon. When you see a team lose the first few rounds or so, or 2 or 3 of the first 3 rounds, and then start a comeback like the one we're seeing from Oxygen, it usually is an indication of a team that is excellent at adapting on the fly and learning their opponent's patterns. And I think we're seeing that on display here from Oxygen. It's hard to discern that from just being, you know, an unlucky first couple rounds and then, oh, suddenly you figured it out, to an actual, you know, readable counter to your opponent. I think it is a counter in this case. I've seen some great things from Oxygen so far and some great things from Astralis, and that's what makes me say that.
So this is a pivotal round for OXG for both of these teams. In fact, Astralis could find themselves on the knife's edge if Oxygen proves successful on this kitchen defense that they have set up. Yes, don't be alarmed. What we just witnessed was a successful penthouse theater defense. And earlier on, a successful penthouse theater take from Oxygen. So far, they are thriving on that bomb site. And if memory serves me correctly, I can't remember if they were OXG or if they were Reciprocity at this time. But even before Coastline got reworked, I vaguely remember them attempting the old penthouse theater to see if it would work. And I mean, it didn't, but it was still a spirited effort either way. It's nice to see the bomb site back in. And one thing that it will also do is that the changes to VIP upstairs will also help out this kitchen site, because teams need to take VIP. Given that it's a double panel wall, given that they've changed the southwest corner of the room, that little nook that they had in there where players could hold very easily, this makes it significantly more challenging for attackers to take up that type of map and hold that map control. And defenders can hold it better, and, well, it boosts the chances of teams holding off on kitchen. That said, DP fires down for the count. Yaga almost dropped as well inside a kitchen, trying to waste some time. OXG gets their very first opening duel in their favor since the third round. Been dominated by Astralis.
It's a lot of damage done to Yaga, though, in exchange. That is worth keeping in mind. Another kill, though, for Oxygen as they look to push us to match point. It's looking likely at this point. Now, J90 is still alive, and he has been the one to get the kills for his team, but he hasn't gotten a kill yet this half, and in fact, he hasn't gotten a kill in a few rounds here, including the last half. So pressure's on. 12 kills. You got to make that even more, or Retro and Shuttle really have to pick it up here in this round.
Yeah, with J90 going quiet more on the shoulders of DP Fire and Iconic, but you've lost both of them, so that's really not where you want to be. Laxing is poised and ready to get the Hibana, but Shuttle wins that fight and will continue to march forward over to the top of main stairs. Will now push down towards the lobby. Not too far off is Vertical. Down goes Yaga. Astralis has a fighting chance, but the greater task is to get Retro in and get that diffuser planted. 4 seconds to go. Vertical doesn't know. Retro stopped in his tracks. Can anybody retrieve the diffuser? No, they can't.
Just for a solid chunk of that round. He could have died at any time. You get that kill and you open up your opportunities, and now anything's possible. Maybe you do that 30 seconds prior or 20 seconds prior. What a difference that can make. Now we're going to Hookah Billiards, Parker, and Astralis just have not managed to win. I mean, they haven't won since the first couple rounds. So, it's been pretty bad.
I mean, this has not been the outing that we wanted from Astralis. I'll remind everybody, heading into this matchup, the 2 games that have been played under this Astralis banner thus far were a 3-7 loss to the Sonics. The Sonics, for those that aren't aware, came into today tied with Oxygen with a 14-8 round differential, both sitting at 6 points. The Sonics and Oxygen have been the best 2 teams so far through the NAL, and a 3-7 scoreline for Astralis against the best team, or one of the best teams right now. It's not exactly terrible. This Astralis squad is still young. They're still finding their footing. They bounced back with a 7-3 victory over XSET, but XSET right now have the distinction of being the worst team in North America, so because of that, it's hard to gauge exactly what Astralis' ceiling is. It looks like coming to Coastline here. Whether they're exasperated, whether they're tilted, we don't entirely know. Astralis shot out to a 2-0 lead, and since then, Oxygen has put up 6 unanswered rounds. That is not where you want to be, and Astralis have already taken their time out. It did not immediately work on the previous round, and now it is a bomb site that teams very much like to play and tend to win on defense, and that's where Oxygen are going to sit.
Oh, I don't think he got it. Yeah, he got caught by the mute jammer. They didn't even notice. That's hilarious. The Twitch drone there from Astralis was trying to get the mirror window, but couldn't get close enough. Or no, could have gotten close enough. Range has been increased, but also didn't get it. So, it's just... Oh, and there's the second one. Okay. Oh, that's funny. Not such successful Twitch drones there from Astralis, and Oxygen will benefit.
Well, just a bit of utility, but nothing else really besides that they've had to be too concerned with. So we'll see exactly what the follow-up is with DP Fire down below. Wait very patiently. Once again, all this utility that's stacked up at the doorway that they will happily play off of here for Oxygen. That deployable shield set back with an ADS and mute jammers, and they can very easily net any of that utility thrown their way. Kino at such close range will be devastating, by the way.
I just want to say that Astralis have been absolutely abysmal at dealing with the utility by Vase. They've expended quite a lot of their utility in trying to clear it out. A full set of nades and stuns, and they haven't gotten anything. and that's really, really not great.
All the march up the stairs is going to come, and Kino falls back at the wrong time. Astralis opens things up in a crucial round. Win this one, and you stay alive, lose it, and that's it. It's all over, but the crying. Now on the stairs, Vertical gets dropped, another for J9O. We still got an escort with them. Astralis' guns are hitting their targets quite remarkably. 3 kills for them, nobody able to answer back from OXG. Retro as well as that diffuser in hand. He'll be able to get that one dropped as a 3rd kill for J9O, and Laxing has him lined up. But do that, so tough going for Oxygen, as they will now go back over to the bomb site that has actually been their most successful thus far. A victory here on attack and a victory here on defense, as Penthouse Theater shows up yet again for the 3rd time. Once again, for those of you that are not familiarized with the changes with the introduction of Crystal Guard, the latest season of Rainbow Six, 3 maps got some small touch-ups. And when I say small, I mean quite small. Not overhauls of the map, some changes and tinkering here and there. On Coastline, the biggest change that a lot of players will notice is upstairs in VIP. Out is the VIP window. In are 2 walls to reinforce. Additionally, the corner of the room that could usually be held so well by defenders, well, it's been opened up now, so you can hold it maybe a little bit better. And it also allows you to open up the wall to give a greater line of sight. With that, Penthouse Theater has suddenly become a much more viable bomb site, and its pick rate has shot up from the Coastline games that we've seen thus far.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that you can use VIP as a rotation now. Like the fact that the big window in VIP was such an easy cutoff for the attackers meant that roaming by Vase and Hookah was essentially suicide, and that has been corrected. So great to see. There's the extended range from the Twitch drones coming in clutch. A mirror window and the 90 cam. That's great use of utility there from Iconic. I don't think he saw him.
I don't think Laxing has been spotted either.
Oh,
now he has been, though, and he's going to have to get out of there. The other change is the bars to the window, which allow players to be spotted or be spotted before from Skylight, but Laxing will take up that aggressive stance inside of Courtyard. One big thing that happened in that previous round was J9O picking up a 4K, and 17 kills is a hell of a tally for him thus far. If he has one bad round, that could be it for Astralis. And well, with the fact that OXG is on match point, you don't have the advantage of a bad round available for Astralis.
Laxing has definitely been spotted this time around, as it's a drone pre-placed in office, and his vertical goes down. The fact that Laxing's position is well known could cause even more problems. He could be the next casualty, depending on how Astralis plays this. But it's slow going after the initial pick. And Astralis have been getting those initial picks quite a lot. It doesn't mean they've been winning the rounds. So this is not done yet.
And that's vertical going down as well. The best player from Oxygen will sit on the bench, ride the pine for the remainder of the round as J9O picks up that 18th kill, which is just a mind-bogglingly high number at the moment. Impressive stuff, and looking to try to vault on up those Siege GG ratings, which he will have no problem doing with a tagline like that and a scoreline like that. Now, for Astralis, they've been able to figure out most of the off-site play. There's still 2 roamers from Oxygen down below, but Astralis have 50 seconds left to gain that intel, and you can see there's still 2 on drones. A 19th kill for J9O, as he is just being capitalizing like crazy, and there's another for him. He technically gets Kino, as I don't know what's going on right now, but J9O is instrumental. Laxing down below. He's going to be fighting shoulder to shoulder with Yaga as the smokes come off, making their retake even more challenging. And Yaga, a team kill as Laxing vaults and scares him. It's all left on the shoulders of the young player from OXG, and J9O shuts him down.
Yeah.
The record is on the line here right now, Michael.
Yeah. Oh, that's technically true, yeah.
It is entirely possible that J9O can break the single match kill record, which, by the way, we are actually going to need official word on what it is, because I know that there have been differences. I think it's Palu at 27, if I remember correctly, but I mean, we're going to need some official word, because I know that we have talked about NAL records, we've talked about online records, and we've talked about LAN records, and whether there is one true kill record.
Yeah, it really depends on how you quantify the record. It's, yeah, are you looking at internationally? Are you also looking at exclusively professional T1 play? Are you including CL, yada, yada, yada? The list goes on, and there's always different opinions. We'll see, though, and we will likely get that word if we actually near that of that potential. There's no, J9O could go quiet right now, for all we know. We'll find out. Again, 2 rounds in a row is the billing for Astralis here. Or technically it would be 4 rounds in a row, but 2 rounds from here. And if they do get that, then we go to OT, and that opens up the possibility for J9O to go even further.
What an exciting shout that would be. For the record, the rest of Astralis have 14 kills to J9O's 21. That is an astoundingly high number. Despite that, OXG are still doing quite well. There's 21 kills between Fox, Kino, and Vertical, not including the 12 between Laxing and Yaga. So we'll see as we get closer. We do have official word, though, by the way. I was correct. 27 kills is the record for a single map in Tier 1 competition. We don't have the NAL record available just yet. Iconic Falls. If J9O stays alive, that's still very much within their grasp. But OXG are looking to deflate this team. 22 kills for J9O. He walks right in. He's got command of this bomb site, and he's got another available as well, doing a ton of damage to Fox. Will he be credited with that one or not? DP Fire is next one up. To watch the stairs, J9O in a fight of his own, but a fight for his life, as is Astralis. Not as important as this kill record. It's Astralis to win this round to keep things moving forward. Down goes Yaga, that shuttles kill, but he's traded out by Laxing immediately. J9O with Diffuser in hand. DP Fire will have to watch. Is there a cross available? This is good coverage from DP Fire, and J9O will be able to get out of there quite quickly. 3 members upright for OXG to take them on. Playing around that deployable shield, J9O inside of the bomb site. The wall will go off, but it doesn't do any damage to DP Fire. As Laxing is now going to try and hit it from the back. Down goes Vertical, and now DP Fire is traded off as well. So J9O will need to find these 2 final kills. Where is he? We'll have to wait for them long range. Sitting inside a Sunrise bar, he's worried about where they're going to come from, but Laxing says no thank you. It doesn't matter what the record is because we're not going to get there. With plenty of time left, OXG will hop on that diffuser, disable it. And by a score line of 7-4, well, they managed to stop the scare that was Astralis, and they pick up their league-leading 3rd map through 3 maps in 3 days thus far.
Big win there for OXG. It was called into question for a little bit. J9O really giving Oxygen a run for their money, but a win's a win, and as you say, Parker, they are now in firm control of the NAL. Could be usurped from them by the Sonics, but they're starting to build a lead that's going to be hard to match later on. Oxygen have now beaten TSM,